Hello, this is your boy Ricondo, a real Falcon fan, again with another video. Today's topic is going to be about Matt Ryan, one of the most polarizing players that we have in Atlanta Falcons history. And the reason why I say it's polarizing because either love him or you hate him. I don't think there's any in between with Falcons fans. For some reason, a lot of people, since the Vic era, when Matt Ryan came in, they just could never start to latch on to his success. But he's been here for 13 years, and he's had it been, like I said, a model of consistency since he's been here. One of the main topics that, since he's getting close to the end of his career, do we have the numbers of the career that will put him into the Football Hall of Fame? That's one of the debates. A lot of people say he don't. A lot of people say, of course, he has the numbers to put him into the Football Hall of Fame. So today, that's what the topic is going to be. We're going to take a closer look at Matt Ryan's career and see if today, if he was to put up the cleats today, we have the career that would, catapult him and get a bid into the Football Hall of Fame. I do have my opinion about it, but I will wait until the end of the video to give you guys my opinion. Some of the reasons, why people say that he might not be able to get into the Football Hall of Fame, because just say, like I said, if he ended the day, he would not have a Super Bowl, and that's one of the criteria. However, right now, I can think of 3 quarterbacks that's inducted into the Football Hall of Fame that did not win the Super Bowl, and they still got in. Another criteria that people said that he had great weapons. He wouldn't be where he is today without, the weapons like Julio Jones, Roddy White. So let's go back to those 3 quarterbacks. So let's say Dan Marino is one of those quarterbacks that does not have a Hall of Fame, but he does not have a Super Bowl, but he's in the Hall of Fame. Dan Marino, of course, he had 2 great receivers, Mark Duper and Mark Clayton, for most of his career, and they helped him put up his numbers he got to help him catapult him into the Hall of Fame. Jim Kelly went to 4 Super Bowls and lost 4 Super Bowls. Of course, he had 2 Hall of Fame receivers. He had Andre Reed and he had James Lofton as his receivers. He had Don Beebe. He had Thurman Thomas on his teams. He had great talent around him, but he still was not able to get that Super Bowl. But he was also inducted into the Football Hall of Fame. Third quarterback would be Warren Moon. Warren Moon played in NFL a long time. He had a great career. He also had great receivers to throw to, like Drew Hill, Everson Givens, and Hayward Jeffries. Just to speak of some of the talents he had. So, I think any successful quarterback that plays in the NFL have to have talent around them to be successful. We try to say Tom Brady don't have talent, but Tom Brady did have talent around him to be successful. He look at his numbers. He had to throw the ball to somebody. So just those 2 criteria alone should not be a reason why a person wouldn't get into the Hall of Fames. I think that the biggest thing that you can do is just take a person's whole career, look at it in its totality, and if they have the numbers that stack up to their peers, that's already in the Hall of Fame, it should be a no-brainer that they should get in the Hall of Fames. So what I'm gonna do today, first thing we'll talk about, I'm just gonna go over. We're gonna talk about Matt Ryan stats so far in his career, then we're going to talk about those other 3 quarterbacks that I mentioned that's already in the Football Hall of Fame and see how Matt Ryan stacks up against those quarterbacks. All right. So first of all, we're going to talk about passing yards. Matt Ryan has 55,767 passing yards. Jim Kelly has 35,467 passing yards. Dan Marino, Dan Marino was a great quarterback. He had 61,361 passing yards. And then Warren Moon had 49,325. So just out of those 4 guys, Matt Ryan is second behind Dan Marino, who is currently 5th on the list, and Matt Ryan is 9th. And probably within the next year and a half, Matt Ryan's probably going to pass Dan Marino and probably end up being 5th on the all-time passing list in yards. Okay, we're going to talk about the QBR. Overall QBR, this is quarterback rating for a career. Matt Ryan currently sits at 94.5 for his quarterback for a career. For a season average, 94.5. Jim Kelly sits at 84.4. Dan Marino, 86.4. And Warren Moon at 80.9. So out of those quarterback ratings, Matt Ryan has the highest quarterback rating out of those 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Let's get into touchdown passes. Matt Ryan has 349 touchdown passes. Jim Kelly has 237. Dan Marino, 420. And Warren Moon has 291 passing TDs. So out of those 4 quarterbacks, again, Matt Ryan is second on the list, right behind Dan Marino, for his passing touchdowns. Okay, so let's talk about playoff records. So, of course, the Falcons have not been to the playoffs a whole lot. Matt Ryan only played in 10 playoff games. His record is 4-6. However, 3 of those losses came in his first 4 seasons, when he came in the league. So in the last 7 playoff games he's been in, he's 4-3. So he's over 500. But the interesting thing about Matt Ryan, his QBR in the playoff actually jumped 6 points from a 94.5 to 100.8. So he actually plays better in the playoffs for a career. Jim Kelly, his QBR actually drops. He has the 9-8 playoff record. His QBR goes from 84.4 to a 72.3. The same can be said for Dan Marino. His playoff record is 8-10. 86.4 QBR in regular season to a 77.1 QBR in the in the playoffs. And Warren Moon has it does get better, but his QBR in the regular season 80.9, and in the playoffs it's 84.9. So if you're just going by the QBR, Matt Ryan actually has a higher QBR in the playoffs than he have, which means he a little bit more focused, because the high state of the game, he tends to play a little bit better in the playoffs. Okay, so let's talk about clutch, because that's another criteria when they say Matt Ryan's not a clutch quarterback. So he has 30 career comebacks and 38 game-winning drives in his career, compared to the 3 quarterbacks that's already in Hall of Fame. Jim Kelly has 21 comebacks and 25 game-winning drives. Dan Marino has 33 comebacks and 47 game-winning drives. And Warren Moon has 25 comebacks and 35 game-winning drives. So once again, out of those 4 quarterbacks, in quarterback comebacks and game-winning drives, Matt Ryan is second on the list behind Dan Marino. So just looking at the criteria, unless it changed, because we're in a different era. And if you want to talk about the errors, because the offenses have changed and you pass more, but I would argue that the athletes in this era is better. It's more athletic. I agree. Some of the rules for offenses have changed. Quarterbacks can't get hit like they used to back in the older days, in the 80s and 90s, when these three quarterbacks actually played. But however, you still throw the ball. You still got to get the ball to your targets. And if you want to just think about durability, Matt Ryan only has missed 3 games in 13 years. 3 games in 13 years. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, I just want to talk about some of the quarterbacks that's in today's game that Matt Ryan actually, in this era that he played with. So, like I said, the first criteria. So, of course, we're gonna talk about quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl, and that people say they are shoo-in because they have won at least one Super Bowl. And that's Big Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, and then we got Russell Wilson. 3 great quarterbacks. I would say that if I was ranking those 3 quarterbacks, would I put them over Matt Ryan? Probably so, because of the Super Bowls. For only reason why I will put him over Matt Ryan, because of Super Bowls. But compared to the numbers, how they stack up, Matt Ryan still is 3rd on that list in quarterback rating. He's 3rd on that list in touchdowns, and he's 2nd on that list in comebacks and game-winning drives. Of course, Aaron Rodgers is a monster, so he's going to be on the top of that list. Aaron Rodgers, his arm talent and his ability to be elusive and throw the ball accuracy down the field is like no other. Only other person we probably can think about can do that is Patrick Mahomes. So, and then the last quarterback that I want to bring up is Phillip Rivers, and who just retired, and who stacks up there with who would be in the same category as Matt Ryan, who has not won a Super Bowl, but has a chance to be his bid for the Hall of Fame as well. So his playoff record is 5-7. He has 85.3 quarterback rating. Season, his quarterback rating actually is 95.2. So in the playoff, it actually goes down. He has 29 quarterback comebacks and 35 game-winning drives, and he has 421 TDs. So Phillip Rivers has comparable numbers, I would say, to Matt Ryan. So of course he's going to be the first one to have a bid to go into the Hall of Fame. So I would just say, if Phillip Rivers get into the Hall of Fame, it should be a no-brainer that Matt Ryan will get into the Hall of Fame, because by the time Matt Ryan retires, he probably will have more passing yards than Phillip Rivers. He probably will have more wins than Phillip Rivers, and hopefully he'll have more playoffs. And if he win the Super Bowl, of course all bets are off. He's definitely going to get in the Football Hall of Fame. And the last but not least, the one thing that Matt Ryan has that not even the great Drew Brees has, Russell Wilson does not have, an MVP. So Matt Ryan does have an MVP on his something that you can actually look at. The one season he had where his quarterback rating was like 100.8 for the season, Broke a quarterback record for throwing the ball to 13 different targets, touchdowns to 13 different targets through the season. However, of course, we know how that ended. The defense on the field for 95, 96 plays against Tom Brady, where we just couldn't hold off that 25-point lead. And if we was able to do that, we would not be having this conversation today. So I guess you guys probably pretty much can tell what I think. Of course, I believe that Matt Ryan has the numbers, have the career to put him into the Hall of Fame. I also believe that his career is not over. I think he's actually going to have a great year this year, hopefully. Like I said, if he's able to grasp the offense of Arthur Smith and hit the ground running, with that first game against Philly, and then we can see where we stack up against the Super Bowl defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and so on. But I think if we can get off on a faster start this year, the last two seasons we were actually started off bad. So by October, November, we was already out the playoff hunt, and then the year, not last year, but the year before, 2019, we made that push, to win those last couple games. And I think that's the reason why Dan Quinn was able to keep his job, because, the team didn't quit. They fought, and they was able to get back to 7-9, even though it still was a losing season. But the fight they showed now in that last part of that season was it actually, I was right along with everybody else. I thought we was gonna come into 2020 and light it up, but once again we started off 0-5, and probably it was a good thing, because it was probably time for a change, to the coaching staff, to the culture, to the front office, because way things was going, I think people had tuned out on the voices around the organization, and it's probably a time for a change. So with that being said, like I said, I threw out a lot of numbers to you guys about Matt Ryan's career. Once again, I believe that he already has the numbers to get into the Football Hall of Fame. Another quarterback that everybody always throw out is Eli Manning. Eli Manning has barely a 500 record. He does has 2 Super Bowls. So like I said, once again, if Super Bowl is a criteria to get into the Football Hall of Fame, we need to take some quarterbacks out. I think your whole overall body of work should factor in until you get into the Football Hall of Fame, because even though the quarterback is looked at, with the records, it's the teams that win Super Bowl. Tom Brady got 7 Super Bowls, but if you go back and look at some of those Super Bowls, if it weren't for his defense and his kicker on a couple Super Bowls, he wouldn't even have a lot of Super Bowls he had. He should have lost to Atlanta Falcons. He should have lost the Super Bowl against us on the Falcons. There's no way we should have lost that Super Bowl. And he also should have lost against the Seattle Seahawks. We know how that happened. What happened with that game as well. So he's just a lucky guy, and that's why they call him the GOAT. But just looking at the career that Matt Ryan has had, 13 years, the most consistent quarterback in our football history, and people still don't want to give him any respect. So, I mean, just think about that. And so maybe he have to win the Super Bowl to get that respect. That might be the only way that Matt Ryan can actually earn the respect of all the Falcon fans, of the national media, of his peers within the NFL. But you know how they say, numbers don't lie. And if you're gonna talk about Hall of Fame numbers, you have to go by, you know, what else can you go by? Just consistency. It's no way you can put up the numbers and the things that he's done in his career if he's not consistent and have some kind of you know, talent, the durability that he shows. I mean, I would argue that he probably had some of the worst offensive lines in the league in some of the years he played, and some of the worst defenses that you know was on the other side of the ball when he played. So, and to still put up those numbers and to have a record over 500 when you factor in 3, 4, and 12 seasons in his career, 2 7-9 seasons. I think he had a 6-10 season. So that's what, 5, 6 losing seasons, and he still have a record over 500 by about 21 games. So I just say how consistent Matt Ryan has been, even though the team put around him, you know, has not always been as consistent. So like I said before, if you like what I was just talking about, let me know. First of all, let me know what you think about Matt Ryan, and do you think that he has the career already to be put into the Hall of Fame? Like the video, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.